What if there was a show about traveling to parallel worlds, the same year, the same Earth, only different dimensions? A world where the Russians ruled America, or where your dreams of being a superstar came true, or where San Francisco was a maximum security prison. We started a podcast talking about it, inviting some friends to join us. Now we hope you all come along for the ride.
Everybody, welcome back to Fandom Entanglement Sliders. We are talking about Sliders, Season 2, Episode 9, but this is the 8th in production order, Obsession. I am Damon Sugameli. This is my co-host, Mike Bloxam.
Hello, everybody.
And joining us again is our old friend, Lisa Hollifield.
Hello.
Welcome back, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey.
How's everything going?
Same thing, different day.
Hanging in there with the way this country is going, or?
Oh, don't get me started. This will soon turn into a political discussion. Trust me.
I know I can.
Yeah, let's stick to sliders.
I know. I want to get into. I just know how you're feeling about a lot of stuff. But yeah. Anyway, so we've been asking everybody so far to do their best sliders whisper. You got one?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, sliders.
Sliders.
Okay. Okay, well let's get into it. I've only watched this once, and I didn't get to watch it again, but hopefully we got enough between all of us to have a good discussion about this one. All right, this originally aired May 24th, 1996, and from the DVDs, the synopsis is: Wade literally meets the man of her dreams on a world where 10% of the population possesses psychic abilities. It turns out he is a psychic and is next in line for the powerful position of Prime Oracle. But the future gets grim fast when Rembrandt and Arturo become prime suspects in a murder that hasn't happened yet. Mm-hmm. So we've got our usual cast of regulars: Jerry O'Connell as Quinn Mallory, Sabrina Lloyd as Wade Wells, Lamont Derricks as Rembrandt Crying Man Brown, and John Rhys Davies as Professor Maximilian Arturo. And then our guest stars, I guess you and me will be going back and forth with this, Mike. You got some notes, I got some.
Sure.
So our guest stars are James Patrick Stewart as Bond, Derek Bond, as he said it. I had seen his face before. I looked it up beforehand. I guess he apparently did some soap operas because he was a regular on All My Children from 1989 to 1992. He is currently in a recurring role on General Hospital. And I know from when my mother-in-law has been watching The Closer, I know he has a regular role on that show. So that's with Kira Sedgwick. She's and then there's like a spin-off show. I don't know if he appeared on that one, but and then you got some more, Mike, for that one.
Yeah, he was also in all 19 episodes of Andy Richter Controls the Universe, which I caught a bit of back in the day, but I don't remember him specifically. And he was in the Babylon 5 prequel film Babylon 5 in the beginning. So I thought I recognized his face. Maybe it's just from ancient memories.
You know what? I think I remember him being a big Babylon 5 fan. I think yeah.
Oh, that might be it. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen something going around too, and because I think is it Sliders fan blog, the Slide Cage. He does like a rewatch of episodes, and they said something about that he kind of looks like Christian Bale. And I see it now. He's a Christian Bale look about him in this episode, kind of. I see it a
Depending on
little
the hair,
bit.
maybe.
Like, okay. Yeah.
I think
Okay.
in Babylon 5, if I remember right, if my mind is not betraying me, I think he played a psychop. Because he has that look.
He does have that
dead-eye
look, yeah.
that works
That'd be
really
a funny
well for
connection, though, if
psychops.
that's true.
He might have. Or he may have played uh, um, an Earthlines officer of some sort who was a bad guy or something. I can't really remember.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and see what he was credited as, but he was in that prequel film, so.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I never saw any of Babylon 5. I know I should. At some point, maybe.
You're missing out.
Blasphemous. That's my series.
Yeah, I know. All right, so we got him. We got Heather Hansen as Dominique, and Isaac Hayes as the Prime Oracle. I don't think we need to say who he is, but maybe the younger people need to know who Isaac Hayes is. I mean, he was a very famous singer, songwriter, composer, actor. Well known for his musical score from Shaft. I can't think of the words for it, but yeah, that's like his unmistakable voice with that song, and he is also the voice of Chef in South Park. Not that I watched it regularly, but I remember there was like a big thing going on there when they were like making fun of stuff, and he was like, he didn't like that. I kind of remember.
This particular episode didn't have a lot of special effects in it. It all went to pay for Isaac Hayes' guest spot.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was like such a small part too. Like he wasn't in it very long at all.
He only really had one speaking scene, so.
Yeah. And the other scene was him looking like he wanted to like he was like sinister look, which I say it in the notes later. Just like, what is that? But another interesting tidbit that I saw on EarthPrime.com is Tracy Torme originally wanted to cast his father, Mel Torme, in this role, but he thought that was kind of dull, so he saved him for a better role later on in Greatfellas. So, and then if you want to get to the with cast members, Mike.
Sure. So we had Malcolm Stewart as the Regent. You noted, Damon, that he was Alan Fontaine in Last Days, who was that jerk of a husband who was playing Russian roulette and
I thought he looked familiar. And I'm like, oh, that's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's him.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Well, he's also got over 200 credits on IMDb, so chances are you've seen him somewhere. But he was, for me, I think, aside from Last Days, it was more recently he was in 2 seasons of Riverdale across 26 episodes, but he played 2 different characters. So, and I haven't seen the second character. But anyway, I think that's where I most recently saw him. But he was also in 3 episodes of Battlestar Galactica as Marshal Bagot. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's been a while since I've watched, but he was a council member representing Vergon in the first season. He was also 4 different characters in 5 episodes of The X-Files, so including the pilot. And apparently he was also in the film Jumanji. So he's gotten around.
The first one, huh?
Yeah, the very first one back in the 90s. Yeah.
Okay.
The next one we have is Sandra P. Grant as Melanie. So that was the other person up for the position of Prime Oracle. We just saw her a few episodes ago in Al Cid as MSW. I think that's the person who was running the women's counseling session.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So interesting. She's only in 2 episodes and they're pretty close together. Next, we have Paul McGillian as the first officer, which I think just means the first police officer who talks to them. He's the one who interrogates, or not so much interrogates, but gives them their Miranda warning. Stargate fans will know him as Dr. Carson Beckett on Stargate Atlantis. And he was also in the 2009 Star Trek film as barracks leader, which is not a memorable role for me, but next time I watch it, I'll watch out for him. And finally, Hiro Kanagawa as Henry.
Yeah.
And Damon,
So
you
I'll
said
add
you
that-
recognize him from
Yeah.
Heroes Reborn.
Yeah, I was
But,
like looking at his face, and I was like, "Wait, I know this guy. Where have I seen him before?" And then I looked up his name, and I saw that he was in that show, and it was like a recurring role on that.
Yeah, he was Hero's
Right.
buddy. Hero's non-hero, meaning Hiro, the other Japanese
Yeah.
guy.
He was
was
the
his
one
buddy.
who was
was jealous that he had powers and that he didn't, and he took some kind of something or other, some injection that gave him powers.
No. This guy was you're thinking of Ando. This was in
from
Heroes
from the
Reborn.
original series.
Oh,
He was.
I didn't even make it through the original Heroes series, honestly. After season 2, I checked out. I was like, whatever. I think that might have been around the time that I was in the Navy the second time, so I really wasn't home much anyway.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, Ando was played by James Kyson Lee.
Yeah. This guy in Heroes Reborn, he was the creator of. In Heroes Reborn, there was like an Avatar video game, samurai girl, and he was like the creator. He was like the creator of this whole thing, of this online world, and she became like a real thing. I don't remember his name. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
That's what he was from.
Yeah, I haven't seen Heroes Reborn yet. I'm hoping to catch up on it someday.
That established properties shouldn't be rebooted.
Yeah, I know.
Look at Quantum Leap.
You're not missing much, Mike.
Yeah. All right. Good to know. So in this episode, he was the Prime Oracle's chauffeur and also delivers the prescription to Wade. And it wasn't until he actually spoke that I recognized him as having appeared in Dark Matter. He was in a couple episodes of Dark Matter. And then when I was going through his credits, I realized he was in Star Trek Discovery. He was in the final 4 episodes of season 4 as Dr. Hirai. And that immediately reminded me who he was. And then he was also Pastor Choi on Kim's Convenience in a few episodes, which is that I'm actually wearing my Korean t-shirt right now, which is a funny coincidence. And to go on just a little bit longer for Hiro, this is another iZombie connection. Again, a show I've never watched, but all sorts of sliders guest stars have appeared on this show for some reason. He was in eight episodes of that show. He also had recurring appearances on Altered Carbon, which I still haven't watched. Smallville, which I'm not sure I'll ever get to watch. And Caprica, which is another one I still need to watch, which is like I think it's a prequel series to Babylon 5, or sorry, not Babylon 5, Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
So he's got over 217 IMDb credits. I'm sure we've all seen him somewhere else at least once.
Yeah. All right. So the teleplay is by Jon Povill. Is that how we say it? Povill? I don't know how we say
Povill,
it.
Maybe? I don't know.
Teleplay by Jon Povill. Story by Jon Povill and Steve Brown. And directed by Colin Bucksey. And we start out on, do they call it New India? Is that what Arturo calls it? India world?
Yeah.
And then they go from there to our main world, which is Psychic World, as designated by EarthPrime.com. All right, so we'll start with you, Lisa. First impressions of this episode.
This episode was what the show should have been before the network decided to take it off the rails. It's what it could have been. This is the exact kind of juicy type of world building and stuff that they were known for in the first couple of seasons that made it the popular show it was before they lost their minds and went off into some, never world. It was really, I appreciated the tension. It was one of those episodes that did not stop from beginning to end, except for the India stuff. It was because as soon as they got there, it was immediate. He was right there on the hill watching her. He was expecting her to be there, and
Yeah.
it never stopped till the very end. Like, so you appreciated that tension of trying to figure out who this guy was. Why is he attached to her? How does he know her? What is this? And I felt like the characters, Arturo and Rembrandt and Quinn, especially their responses to this, even Wade, was very believable. Like they were like, "What's going on here?" Because how does this person know who I am, and not just that, but all about me, as if you've known me forever. Like I could feel the tension radiating off the men.
Mm-hmm.
One out of partially out of a protective stance for her because they were trying to protect her from somebody they didn't know, who they perceived as a stranger, possible threat. And two, a lot of this on Quinn, like, let's just say I'm surprised the man's skin didn't turn green. His skin was turning a shade of green in this whole episode. He was not a happy man. Let's just say if the guy could not have seen it coming, being a psychic, he could have killed him dead with his stare. Like it was that bad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was very tense. And then at the end, when they put together this plan that Quinn obviously had no idea what was going on, it was very believable. Jerry, this is, I think, one of his best episodes. He was so believable in the tension that he was giving off, the animosity that he was giving off, the frustration, and then the grief of thinking that she was really dead. I mean, he was on point in this whole episode, absolutely on point. This was one of his shining star episodes, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'll give you that with Quinn. Yeah, I guess I'll go next. I initially when I first saw the episode, I didn't hate it. I just, like all of season 2, I don't really hate them. I just don't think I was that crazy about it. But this was also, at the time, this was coming right off of post-traumatic slide syndrome, where it just felt like in the wake of what happened in that episode, this was like, spoiler alert for people, we thought there was like something going on with Arturo, and it's like there's no mention at all about anything that happened in the previous episode. So I was like watching this, I'm like, this is just kind of like, I just kind of felt annoyed that there was no mention at all of what happened. In hindsight now, of course, I understand because it's Fox, and we all know, they didn't care about any of this.
Continuity.
Right. And I'm still kind of indifferent to the episode. It's okay. It's an okay episode, not one of the stronger ones, in my opinion. But there were some good parts of it, like what Lisa said with Jerry O'Connell and the grief that Quinn is feeling. I will give this episode some points for some of the things that they do, which will
is this the season that they start dropping hints about Arturo's? What did he have? Some sort of brain tumor or something?
That's in early season 3, and apparently that might be I think that's after all of that happens. Like, what they've been building up to, I know here, was like this whole animosity going on. Like there's the tension building up within the ranks. Like they're kind of building up to the fact that like Arturo's kind of getting like annoyed about all of this stuff, and it's like, we're on this because of this boy, and so they've been kind of building up something. So
basically, the honeymoon period of, wow, look at all these worlds, is kind of worn off, and he's like, I'm so done.
Yes.
Yeah.
I go home now.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of that one episode early in season 1 where, because the way the show used to do it was every time they would go to a parallel Earth that looked a lot like where they were from, they would go to his house.
Right.
And they would open the gate.
Mm-hmm.
And if the gate squeaked, if the gate didn't squeak, because his gate always had a squeak ever since he was a child, and it was never fixed.
Yeah.
If the gate didn't squeak, that would mean that they were not on his planet or his Earth.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember one of the early season 1 episodes, very early, they came back to what looked like their Earth. Everything looked the exact same. All the information was the same. They walked to his house. They opened the gate, it didn't squeak, so they immediately thought that it wasn't their Earth, and they slid away. And just after they did that, his mother comes out of the house, opens the gate, and is like, "I'm so glad I fixed this. It was his house. They had just made it home and didn't even know."
That was the beginning of the season 2. That was the first episode. That's when it happened.
I was like, "Oh my God, they did not. They did not."
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was the beginning of season 2.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Mike. So your thoughts?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, I felt this was a solid episode, but they forgot to include the humor this time, except for the arrival when they land on the hard part.
Right.
It was
right.
nice to have. It was nice to have a Wade-centric episode, but it seems so far whenever they've attempted that, it's always had to include some kind of romantic plot line, like in Luck of the Draw. We can't just have an episode where Wade does something that doesn't involve getting a boyfriend, apparently. Maybe that'll change. Well, we know it changes eventually, but not in a good way. But it was intriguing that Derek and Wade could have been lovers in a past life. But it got me thinking, was it on Earth Prime, or was it on this Earth, or was it in another dimension altogether? Like, have their spirits crossed between Earths, and is there some overlap? I like what Lisa said earlier. There was a lot of world building in this episode, which is true, which is why I think it's solid. And they absolutely don't have to answer those questions. Really elicited some wonderings on my part. So I like this episode.
Derek did say that he had been dreaming about Wade since he was a child, and I just assumed at first I chalked it up to him being a psychic or whatever. But then he said no, it was a past life thing, that he had dreamed of her, and I was like, okay, that's fine, but no, it's fine, because I'm really intrigued by the whole reincarnation concept. But I've read about reincarnation concepts, and the way that they did it was incorrect. It was right the way they did it with him, that he'd been dreaming about this past life since he was a child. She had only just started dreaming about this right at the end of the last slide. That's not correct. If they were indeed connected in that way, like their souls were connected through myriad past lives, she would have been dreaming about him since she was a child. She would have known immediately. Like, she would have felt it in her soul. I know you.
Right.
She had some inklings, like something's up with him. I mean, but I'm not sure. It just wasn't handled very well. But then again, the whole psychic phenomenon thing wasn't handled very well in this episode. Take this from someone who is a Babylon 5 fan who knows Psychor very well. They were bleeding. Exactly. No, they were bleeding. They had some psychics who were genuinely psychic and can see the future, and then they had others that could read thoughts. Let me get this for you straight in case you don't understand, for non-sci-fi nerds. Psychics can see the future, supposedly. And sometimes talk to the dead. Those are mediums. People that can read thoughts, not psychic. They're called telepaths.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get that straight.
Well, Mike, you made me think about it, because this is kind of, we're jumping around a little bit here, but like, it is something I wanted to bring up about how I wasn't sure how I felt about this concept and this whole, because it's like this, like, beyond this, like this, it's like the spiritual thing, like they're soulmates, and it's like they had these past lives, and I'm like, this is kind of going beyond what Sliders is. But now you made me think about, maybe they were tapped into the multiverse. That's a possibility, and maybe those are the past lives. I did not think about that. Like, maybe the dream that Wade was seeing, because that's kind of how we open up anyway, because it was such an odd opening anyway. That was like, I found that kind of weird. But maybe that was another. I didn't think about that. That maybe that actually was happening on another Earth somewhere. That's a possibility.
I just wish whoever wrote those two particular scenes, the flashback scenes, the beginning where they meet up and they want to get married, and then the part where she dies, it came off as a really like cheesy. The whole dialogue was very cheesy romance novel type of
Yes.
thing, like bodice ripper Harlequin romance type of deal. Everything else in the episode was written really well. I was like, why are these scenes written like you just opened up a Harlequin romance book? You can do better than this. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But I guess they weren't wanting us necessarily to focus that much on the flashbacks and more about what was going on in the present.
Yeah,
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, so the alternate history here, because I didn't have time to put it in the notes, but I actually do have what they kind of said on EarthPrime.com. I mean, if you want to, you kind of started with Lisa, with the things that you noticed with the alternate history, and then I can kind of get into a little more detail with it if you wanted to.
Well, it's basically that because they have such prevalent psychics since the time of Lincoln, that all major assassinations were averted.
Right.
Lincoln's, RFK, JFK, Martin Luther King, I'm assuming probably also Malcolm X. Major disasters like the big one earthquake in San Francisco in '88, I'm assuming was averted, and any other major whatever. I mean, so lots more lives were saved. It's probably a very different place, because do you know what this world would be like if JFK hadn't died?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they said he died at Addison's, right? Like at 78 or something. Cause
yeah.
And
that MLK didn't die. I mean, so many wars. I'm assuming a lot of wars and incursions were probably also averted. Lots of bad shit probably didn't happen.
Yeah. So
sounds like a world they should have stayed on.
Yeah. So what they said specifically here was, this is what we find out, that in 1865, a young San Francisco psychic had a vision of President Abraham Lincoln's assassination, and he alerted the president, miraculously prevented his death, and Lincoln was so impressed that he invented a cabinet post called the Prime Oracle. That's where the backstory of this comes from, and then it's their job to predict all these natural, man-made disasters. And then what did they say? It was like 10% of the population had psychic abilities or something. So I guess it's one of those things where people weren't laughed upon when they said they were psychics, or maybe just more psychics who would have normally kept it to themselves. Maybe they came out. Is that what they're implying, I guess? Is that...
Maybe, yeah.
There was a whole institute that was set up for them to receive training, and which... Babylon 5 fan here. It's very reminiscent of the Psi Corps. You gotta be careful. These people, they have power trips.
If
they think that they're better than mundanes, they go kind of crazy. Just saying.
I'm just glad Walter Koenig didn't show up.
That's a different kind of crazy. That's a creepy crazy. Like, could turn your brain inside out like a wet paper bag kind of crazy.
Well, it's, as I was saying before, it did feel like a kind of an odd way to start the episode with this thing. This whole, because it didn't seem like something out of Sliders. It was, I think it's like Tracy Torme even said it's almost like a romance novel type thing, and this was like more, it seemed like this was more of a story for like the women, like the fans of the show. Like, this is a story that I'm not really into so much, but and she was reading.
I resent that remark, because that Derek dude did not appeal to me. That dude gave off the largest amount of creepy vibes I think I've ever seen. Like dead eye creepy vibes.
No, definitely, yeah. Oh, of course,
Dude.
yeah. But,
I mean, he was the version of him from the past was nice.
Yeah.
But the present version of him was like some dead eye creepy bullshit. I was like,
I have some things to say about him later on, because it's like, So, but she was reading Romeo and Juliet, so that they're kind of implying that that's why this.
Yeah.
She has this scenario, and then she doesn't finish the scenario.
But then again, you're also talking to someone who used to be a Quinn Wade shipper who's still a little bit bitter. 20 years later, still bitter.
Yeah. But so they're leaving like it's a real they said they hate these like really late night or early morning slides or something.
Yeah.
And I
Early morning.
laughed out loud. I laughed out loud at Arturo's line. He walks right up to that horse. He's like, I got one word for you. Hamburger.
I think it was a cow, though.
A cow.
It wasn't a horse.
It was a cow.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm sorry. My bad. I'm tired. You're right. He
fair enough.
Hamburger. And he just like, he just looks at them all like, I know what I said. He's so mean. I mean, like, that was like the one seriously real funny moment. I laughed out loud at that. The rest of it's like you said, Mike, there's like hardly any humor in this episode, but that was funny.
Yeah.
And then they arrive on Psychic World and then are immediately introduced to...
thrown into this whole
Bond.
Craziness.
Yeah, Bond. Derek Bond. I had to throw that in there.
But I found it interesting that in this instance, he introduces himself as a seer. And the word seer is included in the name of the Academy later, but I don't think they really use the word for the rest of the episode. They mostly use the word oracle or psychic.
Right.
Which, whatever. But I'm not sure why they just didn't keep using that throughout the rest of the episode. That's not right or wrong, just curious.
Yeah.
But but then they get into town, and then they see that there's this advertising for mining gold on the moon, and it's like, so they assume it's a world of advanced technology, but we didn't really see any other advanced technology. Okay, we didn't see any of the advanced technology in this episode. We just had a vague reference to it about the moon mining. Except maybe the speed building of Wade's childhood bedroom. That might be some kind of advanced technology too. Because apparently they got it perfect.
They didn't even have advanced technology at the hospital. Everything in the hospital looked very 90s, like very for the time period. Not that they would need a lot of diagnostic materials, since apparently all the psychics and seers can just touch your leg or touch your part of your body and know what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but I'm getting a little irritated with the group getting confused about, aren't you going to give him an x-ray, and then being confused as to why the person doesn't know what... You've been doing this for 2 seasons now. I think you know right now that all these worlds are different, and maybe not everything that you know is what they know. Yes. Stop.
Yeah, I've been bringing this up the past few episodes, especially with Wade. I kind of say it later, like sometimes she was getting on my nerves sometimes, because she always has this idea like, oh, so that's it? Like, this is what you're going to do? Or like she acts like the rules should automatically apply in each world they go to. So she's shocked and appalled when things don't work out that way. And it's like they tend to act like that a lot. I'm like, how long have you guys been sliding now? Don't you realize that you should not jump to conclusions when you're...
in season 1, I gave them that grace at first because they were still adjusting and it was all new to them. But now, we've been doing this over almost 2 years.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah. Right.
Stop asking questions. Just let it go.
So I wasn't sure where this was exactly, where you were saying it, because you kind of said some of this already, Lisa, about you thought like Quinn, you surprised his turned green.
Well, as soon as they got there and the guy was doing his little spiel on bone, Derek Bone, whatever, you could see he was like, his eyes just rolled. And then when he said that he was a seer, and his eyes rolled again. And that, at first, I thought, okay, it's probably because he's a scientist. And as a scientist, and someone who's deeply rooted in scientific stuff, he's the type of person that's not going to believe something mystical that's not tangible to him. So he probably already thinks, this guy's nuts, right? Although, again, this is another thing about, dude, you've been sliding almost 2 years and probably seen what? Come on.
Yeah.
So are you really going to be that, like... But I knew as a woman that was only a small part of it. I could tell by the look on his face and the daggers he was shooting at this guy, that every time Derek Bond opened up his mouth to flirt with Wade, Quinn was ready to like rip his tongue out of his face.
Yeah.
Because not just because he was getting all up in Wade's grill, but just because I think he immediately rubbed Quinn the wrong way. And he just did not like him. He thought he was full of shit. And he didn't believe anything that this guy said. And he was genuinely scared that Wade would buy into it and leave them behind.
Right.
Yeah.
I had said in my thing that, you know, she's a fully grown adult. And if she had decided, yes, I do love him and I want to stay, there's really not much they could do to stop her.
Right.
Yeah.
It's her choice.
Yeah.
You know?
I know, they bring it up later,
And
yeah.
this all boils down to Quinn not wanting to put on the big boy pants and open up his mouth and tell Wade how he really feels. That's another source of tension that built up a lot in season 2, up to the point where she vanished on the Cro-Mag world. I know that was a deep regret that he had never been honest with her.
Yeah.
And told her how he felt. And by the time he might have had that opportunity, she was in prison in a breeding camp and made into a computer. And she was killed. So, you know,
that's a long
so there was
away. We're getting it.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, for him to be upset that she was buying into what he was saying because he's everything that she could possibly want, you know, he's romantic and talking about past lives and mystical things that she's into and all that stuff. I'm like, Quinn. This woman is devoted to you. She worships the ground you walk on. Like, when you were back home before all this started, she would have given anything for you to ask her out on a date. Anything.
Yeah.
But you, like, refused to even notice she existed beyond friendship.
He was oblivious.
So, if you mad about some guy giving her attention, be mad at yourself for not saying something. Be mad at yourself. Yeah. Yes, this guy's an asshole, and she surely to God should not stay with him. No way. He's nuts.
Yeah.
But you only have yourself to blame.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is where Rembrandt basically gets hit by the car, right? Like, which I
thought it was a curious choice of vehicle for the Primordial to be in. It looked like one of those black taxis that are, you know, seen all around London, England. I don't know why it was in San Francisco, but it just
these are people just like classic cars.
maybe even with all their advanced technology, they're still driving these vehicles around. But of course, that him being hit, they catch the license plate, but then take Remy to the hospital. And I liked how Dominique, the nurse, medical oracle, you know, shows her obvious interest in him right away.
Should it be any more obvious? Like, really?
Yeah.
Not subtle at all.
Rembrandt's just smiling. He's like, "Yeah, we got. How long were they here? A couple of days,
like 3 days, maybe.
Days?
Yeah.
He's like, I got some time. Let's get to it. Yeah.
So you can have random hookups on slides, just not long-lasting relationships. Okay.
Yeah,
that's right.
She said, like, I'm not interested. I know you're going to be gone. So let's not mince words.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
But and then she's the one who tells them, Remy and Wade anyway, that about 10% of the population have psychic abilities.
Right. What was the license plate? It said Oracle 1?
Oracle 1, yeah.
Oracle 1, okay.
When they tell that to the police are like, we ain't touching that shit.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to file charges against the Prime Oracle?
Yeah,
obviously, if he's doing it, it's for a reason.
As he apparently did have a reason for doing it, which is a whole other...
I know, but yeah. I was about to say that's some sus shit right there, because there's only so much that you can play with the time stream before you seriously start making a mess.
Yeah, this gets into...
Talk to Sam Beckett, he'll tell you.
Yeah, this gets into free will versus fate, and I'm like, yeah, we'll get into that at the end. But so they have that scene with the Prime Oracle. That's like the one scene now with Isaac Hayes.
Yes, yeah. Derek and Melanie go to see him, and at the National Academy for Seers, which in reality is the campus of Simon Fraser University And
Okay.
I immediately picked up on it because anybody who's watched Battlestar Galactica would recognize it as the city on Caprica that's shown throughout the series. But it was also heavily used in one of my favorite Canadian TV shows, J-Pod. It was the setting for Neotronic Arts, which is the fictional video game developer from the series, which was based on a novel by Douglas Copeland. So, if you ever get a chance to watch it, it's an unusual, quirky show, but I liked it. It's a good novel too.
Yeah.
But kind of cool seeing that they use the same, just that iconic the stairway and the square building and the everything around it. Yeah, I'd like to go visit sometime. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You talking about Toronto or Vancouver?
No, it's Vancouver.
I figured.
This was all filmed in Vancouver.
Yeah. So
Toronto's close.
where...
It's like 2.5 hour drive for me. Vancouver is the other end of the country. It's
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So this is where so the Prime Oracle basically is going to choose Derek as a successor, and so I guess this gives Derek, he feels like now he's got free reign, I guess, to just say he's got this confidence to say, like, ask Wade out and take her to dinner and just hear me out, and then if you don't want to have anything to do with me after that, I'll let you be on your way, which we know not end up happening, but and then I like that Wade mentions, this is a nice nod to continuity here, that she hadn't worn a dress since the lottery winner's ball, which is in Luck of the Draw, which was also written by the same one who wrote this episode, Jon Povill.
Okay.
Nice little bit of continuity there. I like when they try to throw it in when they can, even though Fox was pretty much ignoring all of that. But I appreciate it.
Yeah,
as a woman here, I'm just going to say what she was wearing, I would not consider a dress.
That was pretty, like, yeah, that was...
Maybe this is just a 90s thing and their prevalence for miniskirt. It was like in the 90s, there was a resurgence of miniskirts from the 60s, but chick couldn't bend over wearing that dress. Let's just say that. Okay?
Yeah, that was pretty... Even Derek opened that door. He's like, wow, like you could tell even he couldn't see that happening. It was like, whoa, I did not see this, but I'm glad I'm seeing it now.
I mean, he's taken her to what appears to be a very elegant, posh restaurant. You would think he would want her to dress more classy. Look, I'm not saying that she looked bad. It just it looked like she was more dressed to go to the club,
right?
Yeah,
or like to party, whatever, than to a nice, posh, elegant, ritzy ditzy restaurant.
Yeah,
maybe it's just a 90s thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. But this
I was total goth then, so I would never dress like that anyway.
Well, anyway, so Lisa, I guess this is where they have that conversation, Rembrandt and Quinn, I guess, is where they're
sitting in the bar, and you can just tell he's just sitting there stewing over drinks. And I'm sure that if Rembrandt hadn't stopped him, he probably would have got quietly and miserably drunk, I'm sure. He was pissed off that she was buying into all the bullshit. You could tell from Rembrandt's, just his delivery and the way that he said what he said and the look in his eyes towards Quinn, it gave off that whole, dude, you had your chance.
Right.
You know? You could have said something a million freaking years ago. You chose to not. Now you're going to be pissy at her for trying to be happy? He seems like a decent enough guy. Yeah, he's a little creeper, but I mean, he seems decent. Like, really? You're going to be that kind of dude?
Yeah.
But he just would not let it go. He was, I think if he genuinely had the chance, he would have beat the hell out of him. Just wipe the smug grin off his face, just to make himself feel better.
Right.
It had nothing to do with the fact that this guy was a psychic. I think Quinn could have cared less that he was a seer. I think it was more like, I don't want you around Wade. Get away from my woman.
It was total. It did seem like total jealousy. Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah. Like definite shades of green going out the face. Hulk smash.
Mm-hmm.
Like, get away from a woman and I'll kill you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's like he had the chance to say something dozens and dozens of times. There were
Yeah.
episodes before this where he was on the verge of saying something,
Mm-hmm.
but still wouldn't. I still this day don't understand why. There was never an explanation as to why they chose not to, go forward with it.
I think it just all had to do with Fox, and just they didn't want to.
Or maybe they thought if they tied Jerry down with a girl that the girl fans wouldn't like it.
Yeah, who knows? I know it's something that they just dropped, and it's like I don't even think it really, like, even in season 3 they don't even really follow through on any of it at all. I don't think.
They certainly never had a problem when Wade. It was actually, this was before she disappeared. When that army chick, when they went onto that world where they met the girl, the real pretty girl, and she was a military chick.
You mean the one who
she and Wade immediately got off to they
Right.
immediately did not like.
You talking about
each other.
Maggie?
Maggie, because Maggie was like trying to climb Quinn like a freaking coda. And got my man.
I'm
Get
pretty
off
sure.
my man right now. Like she didn't like her at all. They had no problem letting Maggie and him flirt, but apparently they can't. Not with Wade. What? She not pretty enough? Sabrina Lloyd not pretty enough?
Apparently she wasn't, because we'll get to that. But yeah, they
also
butted heads in real life. So
I also know that there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes concerning Sabrina Lloyd. They did her dirty. They did her dirty.
Did. Yeah. We will. Yeah, we'll get to that at some point. Yeah,
we will. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
but yeah, you're right, Lisa.
So Quinn is only apparently allowed to date hot chicks. Okay. Whatever. Whatever.
Well, I think it was in the pilot. He said, "Oh yeah, we're buds," and she was like,
"Buds." Yeah, I know.
What?
He was very clueless in the beginning. Yeah.
But I think he obviously can't contain his jealousy in this episode, and Wade knows it. Wade's well aware of his jealousy. But she rightfully carries on because Quinn would not, just like you said, he wouldn't pull the trigger. He at first he was completely oblivious, and now he just doesn't know how to tell her. It's that you're right. I don't know why they never made anything happen.
Arturo and Rembrandt know this.
Mm-hmm.
So it was genius, absolute genius, that they chose to leave him out of the loop concerning the plan.
Oh yeah,
because they knew that of the three of them, even though Rembrandt was close to her too, but more of like a big brother sort of way,
Yeah.
Of the three of them, if any one of the three of them was going to have the reaction, that visceral reaction to her dying that they needed to make Derek believe it, it would be Quinn.
Oh yeah.
Because he has all those underlying feelings for her that he won't be honest with himself about.
Right.
So when she does take the poison, or not poison, but whatever drug it was she took, and they think she's dead, I mean, I believed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He didn't have a lot of time for tears, but he was, all I can tell you is this: if she really was dead and they had to slide away and leave her behind, I think whatever relationship he had left with Rembrandt and Arturo would have been irreparably damaged. Like there would be nothing left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe.
Because he would never have forgiven himself for leaving her behind and for not fighting to stop her from, or trying harder to save her, or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just glad they managed to get her out.
Yeah.
They had to know that if they went to go get her, that the guy would have seen it coming the first time when they tried to rescue her and he showed up. Like they had to know he would have seen it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What I want to know is, where was other chick? The one that was also up for contention to be the prime.
Oh yeah.
She was only in that one scene.
We never saw her after
compassionate
that.
One that could have talked him down and made him see reason.
Yeah.
Very good point. Good point.
She just vanished off the
Yeah,
face of
Melanie,
the earth.
I think her name was. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. She was like just used for that scene, and that was it. That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. So I have it here. This is at this point he had proposed to her, right? I forgot about that.
She came back from the dinner and she showed the ring, and that's when you really saw it in Quinn's face. He was like, "I'm gonna kill this mother." He was ready to. I mean, Rembrandt and Arturo were just in a state of shock because I think they were afraid that she was genuinely going to say yes and leave them behind.
Right.
Like that she was going to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Quinn was ready to jump out of his skin. He was like, "I'm going to kill me, mother. I swear to God." Hell no.
Yeah.
But at least Wade had the common sense to be like, yeah, I know I don't want to accept this. I didn't even want the ring, but he insisted that I take it, and I felt bad to say no, and I don't know what to do. I know I can't stay here. I don't even know this guy. He claims to be in love with me, but I barely know him. Only known him for a day.
Yep.
Like, obviously I can't.
Yeah. But this is where she's like willing to give him a chance, and then it's like this is where Derek is like shows her he had his servants working around the clock to arrange that bedroom from her childhood, and then she calls him out at this point. She's like, "You invaded my privacy. This is tantamount to rape. Like this is a violation."
Yeah.
And it was like,
it is if that's what he was capable of doing, but he never said. Okay, this is another one of those things where they were bleeding. First, he said he was a seer and he could see the future, but him being able to see her childhood bedroom implies that he went into her thoughts and read her mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was able to see her past, like whatever she was thinking.
Right.
That's telepathy. Two totally different things.
You're right.
They need to. Yeah, they didn't research this very well. You know, it'd be so much easier when they do this stuff to talk to sci-fi nerds like us. We can set you straight. We know our shit.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be some explanation why he has both powers, but they don't go into it. They don't really explain how the powers were established, when it started.
But she's not wrong.
Yeah.
She is definitely not wrong because
I was on her side at this point. I was like, he was
already being creeper by asking her to marry him after only knowing him for like a day. That's way too much. But then what he did going into her mind like that, if you were thinking like Babylon 5 terms, or really the terms of any show, even Doctor Who terms, the doctor is very clear that you do not go into somebody's mind. And he's being a telepath himself. He's well aware of this. You don't go into anybody's mind without permission. That's tantamount to rape. Because you're doing that without permission. Yeah. You're going through their most private thoughts. That's a no-no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
And Derek, I was gonna say, and Derek's reaction at first he was like, it was like one of like I didn't mean it, but it very quickly became so immature and selfish. Like he did not even acknowledge or validate her feelings whatsoever. So, which this is when he was on my shit list. Like really, come on.
Does that mean that these oracles are so powerful that they don't have laws against that in this world?
Maybe.
Maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe everybody
that means that they can go and do that anytime they want, and that's a total invasion. Like, I mean,
maybe they just expect it. I don't know.
So there's no regulating agency like Psychor. Not that I'm saying that Psychor was good. Psychor was bad. That regulates what they are and aren't allowed to do. There should be. But that was definitely like, okay, this room isn't him playing nice now. This is, you're my prisoner and you're not going anywhere ever again. Yeah,
this is where it was like, I hated him so much after this.
I just don't get why he thought it was a good idea to. It was extremely creepy to recreate her childhood room. And I mean, like she used the word rape, obviously, but like it's the mind rape is a sci-fi trope. Like you know, just watch Star Trek or Babylon 5, and it's used over and over. But I mean, it's rather light here. He didn't do it to harm her. He didn't do it to extract information of any sort. I mean, it's in no way correct thing to do, but
Yeah.
I guess he was coming from a good place, but you're right, Damon, too. It was a very immature and selfish act as well, because it was his way of trying to control her and keep her from leaving.
I know. It's like his story, basically. It's like it's something he's got to learn.
Yeah.
Because, well, like the other contender had said, you can have all the power in the world you want, but if you don't have the compassion to use it properly, it'll overtake you and you'll wind up doing horrible things.
Right.
Yeah.
It's also known as kind of a little bit of a sci-fi trope too, that if you have mental abilities like that, the higher level you get, the less of an emotional quotient you have.
Yeah.
The more intelligent you are and the more mental acuity you have, whether it be telepathy or telekinesis or whatever, the less you're able to emotionally connect with people. I mean, look at freaking X-Men and high-level telepaths. I mean, Xavier is the exception. Jean Grey is the exception. But, I mean, there are other telepaths in that universe that don't have the ability to emotionally connect with people because they're like so consumed with their own power. That's what happened on Babylon 5. The higher you go in the Psi Corps, once you get to P12 and you're a Psychop, you have no emotional quotient left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't surprise me, him being more powerful than her. And obviously, he grew up in that environment, so he was probably cowed down to and given everything he could ever want, and no one could ever tell him no.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at least he learned from it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think, and then here Wade does end up spending the night, and I think she finally finishes her dream at this point.
Okay.
Is this before or after the escape attempt? I can't quite remember now, but
I don't remember.
But I just wondered
somewhere here. Yeah.
It was after the first escape.
I just wonder if there was any meaning to their names in their past life. They were Kate and Richard, and I don't know if there's any meaning there, if they just chose two random English names. But
no, I think it was just random names. But the meaning was more in the events that took place. Because she was a low-level servant. Her father worked for the king. I guess he was a king, maybe not. But so he was some kind of...
He was powerful
anyway. Of some sort. Yeah. She was in love with him, but she was afraid that his father would not approve the marriage because she was low class, and he would do something to hurt her parents. To retaliate. They were going to run away together. Then the second part of the flashback happened after the first escape, where the woman who supposedly was sent there by him tells her to meet her at the bridge, to meet him at the bridge, and they'll go run
near
off
Hampstead, which I think is in England.
The last part of the dream is after he shows her to the room and she's locked in there. When she realizes that the woman was not sent by Richard, she was sent by his father.
Right.
To lure her there so she could be shot and killed. That's another faux pas. This flashback looks like it came from like the Middle Ages or something, maybe. The way they were dressed.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm almost like we have a Renaissance fair going on at the library.
Sort of
like it felt like something like from that era.
Renaissance-y, so the boom booms. Yeah, no boom booms.
Yeah.
No boom booms. Not at least not during that time period. They had gunpowder, but they had not refined it into usable bullets at that point.
Right. So it should have been an arrow instead.
It definitely not made sniper rifle caliber guns that could shoot from miles away. So,
good point.
It would have been more believable if she had been shot with a bow and arrow. That would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Or if someone had come at her from behind with a sword and gutted her or something. But so she dies. He finds her and he's all upset. I'm sorry, that shriek at the end was really corny.
Oh, and
going, no! That was really corny. That was like
almost
really
like a Darth Vader level. No.
Almost. Honestly, Quinn's quiet grief was much more powerful and much more emotional than this guy's corny screaming.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
Yeah. This is basically like the end now with her. I guess she was dying because they rushed to get when they're in the ambulance or whatever. Dominica's rushing to whatever, I guess, just inject something to
I guess
counteract the effects or whatever.
Whatever they gave her was enough to lower her heart rate, and if they didn't cataract it or something, she would die. But Quinn was like, "What the f- is going? What? Like what? What is going on?" It was like I said, it was genius that they chose him to be the one that didn't know, because I think only his reaction would have been believable enough to sway Bond. And it was. I'll never forget that line. He's carrying her and he looks at Quinn and he's like, "What do I do now? What do I do?" And he's like, you do what the rest of us do. You learn to live
that was a really
without
good line.
her.
Yeah.
But the way Quinn said it, I don't think he ever would have learned to live without her.
Yeah. And then you said, considering how Quinn, and then you have it here that considering how Quinn reacted to the thought that this didn't motivate him, right?
I would think that something like that would motivate him to say something like, "Dude, if that don't motivate you, I don't know what would."
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, you do you. I guess, but I'm just glad that he learned from it and he realized that he was going to have to be a compassionate oracle, I guess.
Yeah.
At first, I thought when he realized that she was alive that he was going to go after them to get her back. I was afraid he was going to try something with them. I'm just glad that he was only going to say goodbye and he was going to let her go.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was the Regent calls Derek, or maybe any Prime Oracle, the Guardian of the Future, which is interesting because they realize how important these premonitions are to maintaining their society. So, he's basically trying to protect Bond from leaving the post because he's one of the strongest Prime Oracles they've had in a while.
Like we know this is happening with her, but like this is, you have a job to do now. But then he realizes that everything is going on, and this is all the pieces fall into place. So I do kind of like how it all came together. And it's like that lesson that Derek had to learn, that just because he may know it all doesn't mean that he can control it all. That's what he needed to learn from this experience. And even though he, like we said, he's kind of acting like an a-hole, like even the hell he put her through, I kind of felt bad for him a little bit, because like he literally waited his entire life to be reunited with her, only to realize they weren't meant to be together. So it's and I guess he did learn from this, but it was like, again, it's the whole fate versus like free will thing, and
which they really didn't handle well.
Yeah.
I can just see the doctor looking at these people like, "You're crazy." Because look, there are certain events in time that are malleable, that you can make minor changes to, that won't disrupt the time stream. The doctor knows this. That's what he does. But there are other events that are time locked, that are like, you can't change those specific events because they are too important to the time stream. And then if you try to alter those specific events, like what the doctor did in Waters of Mars, that is an event that had to happen for other future events to happen, incredibly important future events. And when he tried to alter it, even the people that weren't Time Lords, the normal humans, knew that he was wrong, and and they took it upon themselves to fix it, to fix his. I just hope that these people don't do anything stupid. I mean, I guess engineering a minor car accident with Rembrandt is one thing, but stuff like JFK and RFK, those are massive.
Yeah, pretty big things.
Like history-altering events.
Yeah.
You got to be careful. Really careful.
How is he? I mean, I know they're psychic, but like you're risking killing him instead of just like was this? I don't know. Wasn't I still have to wonder if there was another way they could have. I know it was to meet Dominique, but like it was a chain of events. So like, oh, I meet you, so that this can happen, and you can do this. It was just, it did seem like a little bit more convoluted than it needed to be. And as I mentioned before, the way Isaac Hayes looked at him when he actually hit him in the car, it was this real sinister look, like like, but he wasn't sinister. Like this was all part of the master plan. So it was like,
yeah,
okay.
Here, Arturo makes it plainly clear for the audience that we know there's a Romeo and Juliet reference. So it harkens back to the book and the very first
right
in-universe scene, I guess. But yeah. Although, you know, once he say something about it, the comedy doesn't play out. He said something. I should have written it down. It was a weird comment about, you know, thankfully Bond didn't also take poison and die. That's, I guess, what he was getting to.
Oh, something like that. Oh, maybe I might have missed that part. I only got to watch it once. Yeah. So. Well, I think that's pretty much it. The last thing that I wanted to bring up was just as they slide out, you see that Derek has this look of worry and concern on his face, and Dominique's looking at him because he's like, I've just seen where they're going, and he looks horrified, like. And this is definitely foreshadowing what's next in production order, which is invasion. If he sees something, some shit is about to go down. Although it's kind of ironic because that's not really the next world they immediately land on, because at the beginning of Invasion, Rembrandt has some knee pads on his knees. So it's weird, but...
They're
they were
trying
definitely
so
referring
hard
to
not
that.
to land on the hard shit, but it just never works.
Yeah, it wouldn't work in air date order because the next episode is Greyfellas. That's not really like something for him to get that worried about. Not like Wilkie had, where he's like, I've just seen where they're going. Like he knows what's about to happen. So
he looked pretty horrified.
Yeah. That's another nice little. They tried to do some continuity there to foreshadow, but you know, it just kind of, because this is, like I said, the production order, air date order thing, it all falls flat. Anyway, anything else we want to say before we get into the goofs and the lines? And I think we said what
we did a pretty good job tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I did have a goof. I think you said it, Mike. So what's you said you have your goofs here.
Well, I had two. There was a mispronunciation by Quinn. When the Prime Oracle's car stops after hitting Rembrandt, Quinn calls out the license plate, Oracle 1. So I think that was... I can't see Quinn mispronouncing the word Oracle. Maybe Jerry did, but I can't see Quinn doing that.
I missed that completely. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I had to rewind it and make sure I heard it right, because at first, when I watch it the first time through, I don't have the subtitles on, and then the second time through, I do. And
I always have subtitles on.
But yeah. And then the other goof I caught was after Derek leaves, Wade tells the other she was dreaming about him before the slide tonight. And maybe she's still tired or confused from having just met this guy who says he's been waiting his whole life for her. It was clearly established as morning when her alarm went off at 4:09. And then somebody, when they were leaving the hotel, said, I hate these early morning slides. So just, I just wonder if there was a first draft of it and then they went back and didn't clarify it was morning when they left. Because it's obviously pretty much daylight when they arrive, too. So anyway. Just minor goofs. Did you say you had one, Damon?
Well, this is something that's on the Earth Prime website, which I think I kind of realized this as I was watching it. I'm like, something's off here. But it's on Friday afternoon, the Prime Oracle says that by this time tomorrow, which is a Saturday, he will die of a cerebral hemorrhage. But it happened, they were on their date at night, and it was at the restaurant. Wade can't believe it's so empty for a Friday night, and during that same date, they announced that the Prime Oracle just died. So, must have been wrong when he said, "By this time tomorrow, I will," unless it was the way the wording was or something. So
maybe.
And even says at the
I
end,
guess,
what does it say about the Oracle's prediction ability?
yeah. But by this time tomorrow could mean any time between now and,
I guess,
any time in the next 24 hours, maybe. That could be how it could be interpreted. But
yeah. All right. The memorable lines, which I did like the cat, the cow line with the hamburger. But I think it was in that same instance where there were the overly thankful hotel clerk, and he's like exasperating Minnie, like, like stop. And I think at some point,
well, then they talk about even right before they slide, Quinn says, "Let's go to the park. Maybe we'll find some soft grass to land on." And Arturo's very thankful. But of course, when they exit the wormhole, they stand up and he says, "Soft landing there, hard part here. And where do we land unfailingly?"
Yeah.
That's about that. And after that, that's when the humor stops for the rest of the episode.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I like too when they were when Rembrandt was being examined. Dominique says, "Look, I don't need to know what your story is, but it doesn't take a 5th degree psychic to know you two are hiding something." Which made me think, how many degrees are there? Is 5th really high, or is 5th mid level? And maybe that implies there are ones who can see the future, others who can read minds. It's falls back into that. They didn't clarify what all the abilities were, but and this one, I love this one. Quinn, when they're leaving the hospital, I think Quinn says, "Wade, how many times do we have to tell you no involvements?" And Wade just says, "Look who's talking."
Yeah.
Like, Quinn is the one who is constantly getting them into shit.
Yes. Oh my God! Yeah, he is.
Keep to the watcher mantra. Again,
that's his
record.
I know.
Never interfere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last one I thought was good. Here, it's another Arturoism. That's when the police come up and arrest him, and he says, "Oh, by order of the police oracle," or something to that effect, and Arturo's just like, "Police oracle, you blistering idiot!"
Blistering idiot. There's the blistering idiot.
Yeah, drink.
And I did like when Quinn's talking to Wade on the phone. And he's trying to. I think he's just like, "It's easy. Just tell him. Here's your ring back." No. Don't hang up. Don't. This is where Wade is like what we were saying before with Wade. Just like, she knows that he's jealous, and she's just like, "I don't want to hear this anymore."
Yeah.
And going into what you said, Lisa, with with Derek about when she appears to be dead, and then Quinn says she had to kill herself to get away from you, and you call that love? No matter how much power you have, you can't make people love you. Not even God can do that. Which that was a pretty good line.
Yeah.
And that's when we got into that with what do I do now, and that that whole thing, and learn to live without her. All right.
I think he was in such a state of shock because he's always known what was going to happen beforehand. He always had it laid out before him. He never had to wonder about what was coming next, and now he was totally thrown. Like, this was not at all what he was expecting to happen.
Yeah.
And he didn't know what to do.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we'll give our final thoughts and ratings. Silly objects out of 10. Lisa, I think you have the highest one, but you should go first. You have your silly object out of 10 for the episode, or?
Oh, there wasn't really.
You don't have to. I mean, it's a silly. It's, I don't know. Everybody's doing it, but
I'm going to say it's a silly object. The ring, because that ring was atrocious looking. Maybe that's just me. Gaudy and ostentatious, but maybe that's just because it's not my style of ring. But yeah, I would give 8 gaudy ass rings. For the world building, or at least the attempt at it, for the the tension that was really palpable that didn't stop. You didn't really get a chance to breathe very much. It was all the way through. The characters were very believable and their emotions, Quinn especially, and Wade. The only reason I couldn't give it higher is because the flashbacks were cheesy as hell.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm probably low. So you want to go next, Mike?
Yeah, I'd say I feel the same, Lisa. I'm also curious. Like they did do good world building, but curious about when that divergence happened between our Earth. Was it before 1865, or is that just when it was first made public? And what happened? What happened on this planet to give 10% of the population varying degrees of psychic power? They just kind of throw this at you and say, here's the setting, but the why is always helpful too. So
I think it was more like they always had this ability. They just were very, hush hush about it. But then this one person saw something happen that was so terrible, murder of the president, that he couldn't keep quiet any longer, and that's what brought him into society.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, that all being said, I gave it 7.5 copies of Romeo and Juliet out of 10.
Yeah, and I don't think I have much else to say for other than what we said already. So I'm just going to give it 7 hit and run Oracle 1 license plates. That's a little, I don't know. That's all I could come up with. All right, so I guess that's a wrap for Obsession. And next up in our production / story continuity order is Invasion, which was technically meant to be the season finale, even though it's not even in air date order. It wasn't the last one, but almost was.
Right.
I'm not gonna. We're doing something a little special for that one, so we will reveal at that time. People will find out what we're doing for that. So stay tuned. So yeah. All right, Lisa. Thank you. This was a really great conversation we had about this. Thanks for joining us. Glad you could.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right. So we didn't say anything at the beginning. What you've been up to with your channel. You had some. I think you had some plans. That maybe you want to. I mean, we can start sharing some stuff you were thinking about.
Well, over the past summer, when you have a lack of TV, you kind of, when you have nothing else to watch, you start rewatching old shit because you have nothing else and you're bored. And I found myself watching Farscape, which was a huge Farscape fan when it first came out, and falling in love with it all over again because it's a fantastic show. I mean, absolutely fantastic. And I was kind of wanting to do something in your vein, where I wanted to have a little podcast thing like this, where I review all 4 seasons of Farscape, episode by episode, and the Peacekeeper Wars miniseries. It's really just an hour and a half long movie. It's well worth it. The episodes are really, really good, but very complex. So I'm trying to advertise. I put some stuff out on Twitter and on Blue Sky, but I didn't get anybody talking to me back about it. But I can't do it without people. I don't want to just sit there and talk to myself. So, but I will say this: I am welcome to all comers that want to review, but with the codicil that I have watched a lot of Farscape reviews on YouTube in my time, and a lot of them, like I was telling you, is one Uber fan that knows all the stuff, and 4 other people that have only watched a couple episodes and think it's about a bunch of crazy looking aliens talking to a puppet on a hypersled. They can't seem to get past the Jim Henson of it all. This was because the show was a collaboration between the Sci-Fi Channel and Henson Studios. Henson provided all the puppets and a lot of the makeup work. And these were fantastic Muppets. You had Rigel, who is the Dominar Rigel, the 16th, this little slug-like dude that rides around on a air throne. And then you had Pilot, the 8-armed alien creature that is connected to Moya, the ship, and he pilots the ship for her. They couldn't get past it. Like it just seemed like, oh, this is like Jim Henson's Muppets or some shit. I'm like, that's not this, okay? There's no Kermit the Frog, no Animal, no Fozzie Bear. That's not what this is. If you really watch the episodes, it is so complex and so dramatic. And yes, there's a lot of humor in it, but a lot of the humor is used as a coping mechanism, especially by John Crichton, because we're talking about a single solitary human being that is thrust into this situation that he was not prepared for. I don't know if you guys, am I talking to two people that have no idea what Farscape is? Y'all?
We've talked about it. I definitely knew it. Farscape.
Y'all
I'm aware of it, but I've never watched it.
No, y'all were just very quiet, and I was afraid it was like going straight over your head. But,
I knew about it.
I mean, he's thrust into this situation that he is not prepared for. He's a single human on an intelligent ship with a bunch of crazy alien fugitives, doesn't speak their language, doesn't understand their customs, and the only way that he can find to cope is his own kind of weird sense of humor, using like references to TV and movies from back home, because it's the only thing he knows. Like
a little Star-Lord kind of thing. That's it's a little bit like
Actually, as a matter of fact, Ben Browder recently did an interview. Ben Browder was the actor who played John Crichton. He recently did an interview for at some Comic-Con or something, and somebody was telling him, we heard that you had said something about how Guardians of the Galaxy was a Farscape ripoff, because
I think it's been around longer than that.
No, it's not a rumor. It's the truth. Because James Gunn, who was responsible for Farscape in the first place, was responsible for Guardians, is a major Farscape fan, major Farscape fan.
Guardians as a comic, I think, has been around before, but the movies, I see.
Right, but he admitted that when he was doing the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, that he designed it basically after the same kind of relationships that John Crichton had with the aliens in his world.
Oh, okay.
So when Ben Browder was asked about that, he was like, "Yeah, you stole my show, man."
Well, I mean, anyway, so if you want to, I mean, if anybody is listening to this and you're into Farscape.
As a matter of fact, back in the day, it was the highest rated original programming on the Sci-Fi Channel. The only reason it was canceled when it was is because the network got a new executive, and she wanted to cancel all of the original programming, which pissed so many people off, because there was a lot of great shows. They all just vanished in a fail swoop.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was like in the same block as when Sliders went to Sci-Fi. I'm pretty sure because that's when I remember seeing it, because they were on it, I think, at the same time. Like Sliders ended right around the same time.
Because they were trying to go away from
They
were trying to go away from just airing old sci-fi shows to
original programming,
more original, but not in the sci-fi vein, like other whatever stuff that just anyway. I wanted to do an episode by episode review, but I need people. So,
all right. So if anybody wants to hit Lisa up,
I can't promise to do it now. I'm moving very soon in a couple of months when my son graduates from high school, so it's going to be really crazy. But it will probably be more towards like fall-ish.
Okay.
Maybe when I'm a little more settled and have time to figure things out. So yes, contact me on Blue Sky, Phantom, Broadgrass, on X. Although I will admit I don't really check X much anymore because it's disgusting now.
X to X.
X the X. Yeah, I'm not bothered at all.
Literally, the only reason I still have an account with them is because I have some English friends, like Doctor Who fan friends, and that's the only way I can keep in touch with them. Otherwise, I wouldn't even have a freaking X account anymore.
Yeah. Kind of like that with Facebook too. It's just like I'm just really doing it more for like showing pictures of my family and this stuff. Really, it's like I don't deal with any of the political stuff anymore. So if anybody's interested, hit Lisa up and I'll put all that contact information there as well. So all right. So in the meantime, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Share your opinions in the episode in the comments down below. We will do a roundup of comments in future videos. We are still a little behind, but we'll probably do them in the next one. You can also visit our website at www.fandomentanglement.com. Mike has been doing a good job of uploading our videos there. You can see them there instead of just going right to our YouTube site. You can also email us at fandom.entanglement@gmail.com. We have a Facebook group, facebook.com/fandomentanglement, and we are also on the Blue Sky, fandomentanglement.bsky.social. All right, so until next time, I'm Damon.
And I'm Mike.
And I'm Lisa.
And we'll see you out there. Keep on sliding, everybody. Bye.
Slider.